little theatre and a lady with a young girl here. Because it smells. She said, I can't stand it.
That's funny.
She was like, really, she went on and on and on.
Oh shit. Well, she's right.
Good evening. Good evening. Can I welcome everyone here present and anyone who's watching online to this August meeting of the Colne Town Council. We've got quite a lot of apologies. I suppose it's because of holidays and clashes with other council meetings. But I've got apologies from Councillor Bell, Councillor Chamberlain, Councillor Clamp, Councillor Sarah Coburn-Price and Councillor Pat Howarth. And the next item, item 3, is declaration of interest. So is there any councillors who have a declaration of interest on anything this evening?
I've got a pecuniary interest in the Colne Youth Action Group, which probably are interested in item 11 on the planning.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I suppose you could say I've also got another registrable interest, which is another new one, as chairman of Lidget and Beyond.
Okay.
But I don't think it directly affects the financial interests of Lidget and Beyond. But obviously it's the sort of thing we might campaign for, against, or whatever.
Right, okay. Right, the next item is the minutes of the meeting from July. Has anybody got any issues, amendments, questions? If not, can I have, do you want to, can anybody move those? Can I have a seconder? Howard Thomas. All those in favour? Thank you. The next item, item 5, is clerk's update, but the clerk's been on holiday, so I don't suppose she's got very much to report.
I haven't, I'm afraid. I've spent the last 2 days updating blues stuff, so, and 579 emails that I came back to.
Right, well, item 6 is public forum. And I know we've got at least 3 people who want to speak about a planning application. So I propose that we'll bring that application forward and that we can deal with that now. Then you don't have to sit through a lot of the boring stuff. Who's the first to speak? I think I've got Sharon Dale, and I think it's the application number.
That one.
250479/FUL. Yes. Yes.
Before we start and get comments from the public, this was actually discussed at our last full council meeting. They did contact us to see if we were in support of the application. So from that response, I sent them an email, which was, I can confirm that this was discussed at the last full council meeting dated 15th of July. The councillors agreed to support the idea in principle. There were some concerns voiced in regard to the lighting of the facility into the winter months due to the curlews and ground nesting birds that are known to be in this area. It was suggested that you should contact the Lancashire Wildlife Trust about this and seek advice to ensure that all necessary actions are taken to minimise any disruption to their breeding patterns. On release of the full application, I would suggest that the local residents are also consulted about this. So we did get a response from that. I believe the Wildlife Trust are consultees as part of the planning process, which is now live. We have an ecologist working on the project, which will ensure any potential risks to the wildlife are identified and mitigated against as required. Local residents have been consulted as part of the planning process. It's from Steve Wells Associates. They're the consultants that are doing behind the planning application.
Right. So can we have Sharon? Yes, Councillor Thomas.
We weren't formally consulted. We were presented with a councillor saying that the plan had been put in, but we didn't have any particular details of the plan, which we now have and have got time to comment on it properly. But I think we should make the members of the public aware that we can only comment on it. Anything we say, the decisions will be made by the Pendle Council's Colne Area Committee, which will be whatever the date in August, listen to me, whatever the first Thursday in September is, and or depending on what happens there, the Development Services Committee, if that's the right title of it,
Management, I think.
which would be a month today, roughly, and well, from there on it can go to
appeals and
several places,
all sorts of places. Yeah,
but just so that people are aware, we can't make a decision on whether we are approving it. We can only comment on it.
But we didn't get a formal. We didn't get it on a list like we normally do. It was just verbally that we got that.
We did get a plan,
Yeah,
obviously, of the layout, etc.
So, Ms. Dale, Sharon, is she here? Do you want to come and sit if you want to sit?
If you, we put, I was going to say, if that works,
use that
sit there.
What's it?
I'm going to sit. Might be less shaky if I sit. Yeah, I'll be as quick as I can. So we've been told that the land at Park High School has been designated for sport use, which means that it can be used for football. I'm not sure if that is true, but that's what we've been told. But we've also been told that conditions of use can be attached by the local authority. And that's what we want to see. So the proposed 3G pitch with artificial grass would be a gross intensification of use. It's not just for the pupils. The aim is to open it to the paying public as a business. And the proposed opening hours are until 10 p.m. weekdays, with use continuing all weekend, which is onerous to say the least for residents. The light pollution from the 3G pitches is immense, and it generally does spill onto land and into homes, hence fears for the wildlife on the roof and for homeowners. The noise levels from 3G pitches are exceptionally high. A lot of shouting and swearing, and that noise will carry to the homes on Castle Road and around, Venables, that area. It's quite a big area. Most worrying, sorry, can you not hear? I wonder if this is turned on. Is it turned on? Oh, it's
as long as we can hear.
Is that all right? Oh,
Yeah.
good. I'll carry on.
So
Sorry.
What you suggested?
It's difficult because if you're talking, you have to sort of speak, look into the microphone, unless we can get a roving microphone that you could hold.
Yeah. Can you hear? Oh, the
Yeah,
people around the table. Yeah, that'll have to do, won't it? I don't know what else to say, really. Is that okay? Right. Where did we get to? Yeah, most worrying is the 3D pictures have effectively been deemed unsafe due to carcinogens in the rubber crumb infill, and that's thrown up in the during matches, lands on shirts. So yeah, there's that, and that the EU has announced a ban on the crumb, which has been phased out by the EU because it's so dangerous, and Sport England is now researching that issue. The crumb and the microplastics in the pitch will spill over onto the upper roof, and this is a major concern. There's no way they can stop that, and it will leach into the soil, affecting wildlife. It will also pollute then the watercourse leading down to the river, and this is inevitable. And we think this alone is cause for rejection of this application because it has to be via a condition via a condition that cannot be met. And that condition would be that there could be no runoff, could be no microplastics on the upper roof. A resident who lives close to the 3G pitch at Fisher Moor has given us an insight onto what he and other neighbours have to endure. So he says, noise is created, especially if there's a crowd of spectators. Sometimes the language is quite blue when there's older youths and adults playing, and it's not what children want to be hearing in their gardens from the houses surrounding. The lighting is supposed to be carefully designed to minimise light pollution to surrounding areas, but it doesn't. It lights up the nature reserve behind the pitch at Fisher Moor, makes it very uncomfortable walking down the footpath of an evening because the light's so blinding you can't see. It's also having effect on birds and other wildlife in the fields surrounding. And it's like daylight in the bedrooms of the houses at the other side of the railway line, even with curtains closed. And obviously that goes on till 10 o'clock at night, past children's bedtimes. Most importantly, again, this rubber crumb. So he mentions this. So every time a ball bounces, it throws up some of the rubber crumb, which is similar in appearance to nurdles, which contaminate the beaches. But this is what he's saying. But I understand it is even more toxic. This crumb inevitably finds its way out of the 3G enclosure, especially when windy. And when the vegetation dies back in the winter, you can see lots of these tiny rubber particles on the ground outside the pitch, which are obviously no good for the soil or ecosystem. They also have an issue with trespassing, but he does conclude, I urge careful consideration to be given to the above and for conditions to be attached to any permission to control them rather than relying on vague reassurances from the applicant. So, yeah, I mean, the main thing I think is the upper roof and this, the carcinogenic issue, which is absolutely frightening. I'd never heard of it before. I certainly wouldn't be allowing my children to play on a pitch like that. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you. I hope you've heard me as best you can.
Thank you, Sarah. We have Sharon. Sorry, Sharon. Right, we've got Alan now. Alan Bedford.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to express my strong objections towards the proposed development of the 3G pitch at Park High School. I'm extremely concerned about how the proposal will affect the health and safety of our community. So I'll quickly go through the different areas that I think are really poignant because we don't have much time. The lighting setup, as Sharon's already spoke about, these lights are designed to point down at particular angles. It's all in the report. It's written initially at first glance very well until you start looking further into this report that they've done. There's a lot of anomalies throughout these reports, so it's been written very quickly and sort of fudged together and pushed through, I feel. Don't know whether that's true, but that's how I feel. Even though these lights are based to point downwards, it's still going to be 64,000 cubic meters of light on top of a hillside. That's generally a very dark space. So it has more of an effect than it would if it was, say, down at the sports centre where we used to have one, which is no longer there because they couldn't afford to replace it. So there's a end of life point there as well. Considering the noise levels, it's going to be intolerable for the constant and no respite from this because it's going to be 7 days a week. It's going to be Monday to Friday until 10 p.m. And depending on which report you read, because again, there's confliction, it's either 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. at weekends. So there's no hard facts to say what it's actually going to be. The noise report says 6 p.m. The lighting report says 8 p.m. So The report's not very good. The report states that the noise will be a few decibels below the guards, stated by WHO. However, there has been no measurement taken of the ambient noise level in the area at present. So we live in a quiet space up there. So it's not going to be like, again, if you take the sports centre, for instance, there's a lot of noise level there already from motorways and other things going on down there. Up there, the noise levels are very low. And they've not done any actual noise readings from site. I don't know why. I'm guessing it's because they know it'll already be low. So the uplift from there will be huge. So even if it doesn't meet the 50 decibels, it's still going to cause a problem for residents. I don't know how they mitigate that, whether it's putting up acoustic fencing. Who knows? That's a problem for them to answer. I don't know what Pendle Borough Council's current assessment protocols are for assessing the potential impact of noise on the existing locality for the type of development, and does the ACL report comply with these? We don't know. In the summary of the acoustic report, there is reference to antisocial behaviour being one of the major problems, but they can't mitigate against this. This is in their own report saying that, you know, they always encounter antisocial behaviour and foul language. There's not a lot they can do about that. If it's happening, it's happening. It does state in the document that there may be a complaints phone line or something like that, but I don't see how me ringing up and saying there's somebody swearing at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, can somebody please go and tell them to be quiet? That's not going to be effective, is it? We all know that. Most importantly, I'd like to address the environmental impact. A 3G pitch contains between 100 and 120 tonnes of rubber crumb, which equates to 20,000 used car tyres. Filled with carcinogenic materials, and additionally they have top-ups between 1 and 5 tonnes per year. So it's obviously migrating somewhere. They have upstands around the pitches. They have boot cleaning facilities within the pitch, and they have a catchment tray under the entrance. They aren't there for nothing. They're not spending money on these things because it's not going anywhere. So it's obviously migrating, and it's at least 1 tonne a year. And that's going into our environment. It's a huge impact. When the heat gets on this rubber crumb, it causes something called off-gassing. And that's when a solid turns into a gas and it's released up into the air, into the environment. I've got various reports supporting evidence for lots of these things. According to DEFRA, UK Microplastics Report 2025, these pitches are the largest single source of intentionally added microplastic pollution in the UK, with estimated emissions of 16,866 tonnes per year. These chemicals will be ingested by wildlife and humans. According to the proposed plan, these toxic chemicals will leach into the watercourse down the side of the Lower Rough. That's where they're planning to drain it off to. So it's going to go into the watercourse, down the side where the new houses are on the Lower Rough, down past Lidgett, under the road, down Heifer Lane, come out into the river, down near the new McDermott site near where Maltool used to be. Supporting evidence, I've got a study from Yale University who found 52 carcinogens such as benzene, benzidine, etc. These chemicals have all been classified as known, presumed or suspected carcinogens by regulatory agencies like the US EPA and ECHA. A professor, Andrew Watson, a public health researcher at Stirling University's facility for health science and sport, stated in his report that there are no safe levels for carcinogens and that rubber crumb should be phased out and replaced by natural grass or materials such as cork. By 2031, the European Commission will have phased out the use of rubber crumb and is aware of the damage it causes to the environment. And by October 31, you won't be able to purchase any more rubber crumb in Europe. So Europe's phasing it out,
Alan, have you nearly, can you
Yeah,
wind up?
yeah.
Because we haven't got, you know, we've only got like 15
Okay.
minutes for everybody. But,
So just to wrap it up a little bit more, the International Agency for Research on Cancer has stated that there are several chemicals in rubber crumb that are carcinogenic to humans. A bill to Parliament refers to a piece of written evidence on potential health risks associated with 3G crumb rubber, particularly concerns about exposure to carcinogenic chemicals. These are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. And just to put that into perspective, children playing on 3G pitches are exposed to levels 100 to 2,000 times more PAHs than when playing with plastic toys. Reports have surfaced alleging a link between the presence of carcinogenic substances in rubber crumb and lymphoma in young football players and specifically goalkeepers because they dive around on it, touch their faces. So in conclusion, considering the risks, it feels negligent to allow players and residents to be exposed to the carcinogenic chemicals in the rubber crumb used in these pitches. Surely the council doesn't want to expose the public, pupils and the environment to the risks these pitches pose, especially considering that they're going to be phased out in Europe by 2031. That's it. Thank you.
thank you, Alan. Thank you. Do we have John now? There you go. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, Committee and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Council. I'm John Birchenough, a resident of Castle Road, and for clarity, yes, my garden backs straight onto Park High School playing fields. And also for clarity, I'd like to say as a resident, I have not, contrary to what was said at the beginning of the meeting by Clark as a statement from the developers, I and other residents have not been consulted by this. I wish to put that record straight. We have had a map, a plan with a few words on the back pushed to our letterbox. That is not, by anybody's imagination, consultation. Yeah, it's a school, and the school was there when I moved into my house 13 years ago. Don't have a problem with that. But what wasn't there was a polluting, disturbing commercial enterprise that will undoubtedly, in its present form as this current application, give significant harm, negative harm to myself, my family and other residents. It's been, and also of course, significantly harmful to alter the character of this area. It'd also be detrimental to the adjacent and recently almost designated local green space of the Upper Rough, which we all know, a lot of us know very well, has been vigorously fought for and campaigned for, both in the Colne Neighbourhood Plan, in the Pendle Local Plan, and of course against various applications to build houses on it. So this proposal would be adjacent right up to where that land starts. The noise and the light pollution and associated harmful effect on residents' well-being have not been given full consideration in this proposal. Some reports that are not site-specific, being cut and paste from generic sources or modelling, and they appear shoddy and with omissions and errors, as alluded to both by the previous two speakers. The noise, I'm coming back to the noise, I don't need to talk about the environmental and health issues. That was being so brilliantly done by the previous speaker. So I'll try to save a bit of time. But the noise impact assessment, which in this proposal before you is known as Appendix F, it's an inadequate report. Importantly, again, this has just been briefly mentioned, there hasn't been a baseline study taken. Now that would register the existing ambient noise level of the area, which outside school hours, and as anyone who's familiar with the area knows, it's near silent. When a judgment of the effect of the increase in, there hasn't been a baseline study to which could apply the increased level of noise that's anticipated by the development. So without that baseline, you can't tell what effect it's really going to have. So that is an omission from their submissions. No account of the reflected noise from the metal-clad side and gable end of the existing sports hall has been factored in. And as been previously mentioned, the World Health Organization recommend a level of 50 decibels for a domestic setting. And that is defined as giving moderate community annoyance. Not my words, their words. For example, due to the games, sound of games, etc. And one of the mitigations that's put forward in this proposal against this noise level is, to quote, the Acme number 3 games whistle. And they said, okay, that could be a problem. What we'll do, we'll introduce a no whistle policy. That is the level of consideration and mitigation that these people are showing to the area. Not into it's to the good name of the school as well. It's not just residents. So following the World Health Organization noise levels designation, it's clear that this approach expects, and it's quite happy for the residents to experience some moderate community annoyance. And it's very interesting to note that the assessment that they have done predicts a noise level at the nearest house facade of 47 or 48 decibels and 49 in the gardens. You can draw your own conclusions. I think that's rather coincidental to the cutoff level of 50 decibels when their predicted level, 47, 48, 49. These things need a lot more careful scrutiny than they are being given and what are before you, or will be before the area committee if this plan stays in its current form. I'll cut that because we're in short time. The lighting, the design and access with the planning statement, that's on page 12, that states 13 metre high lighting columns. Now, the proposed plan from the developer, from the proposer, states them at 15 metres high. Now, okay, that is, you think may say, so what? They may go for 13. The point I'm making is yet another example of the carelessness and the unprofessionalism of this submission. And if these, well, I class as obvious to spot errors are there, what is lying, or errors we haven't noticed, what errors are in the quite complicated calculations? It really does need a much more careful examination. Reassurances have been given that the lighting design, and I think this has been mentioned, so again, apologies, that the lighting design will prevent spillage. It doesn't take into account of this dark cube of 50,000 cubic meters, whatever it was that Alan's calculated, that is going to be right in the middle, what is now a predominantly dark area. It's a valued area because it's been quoted many times on the much valued long range views of Colne from one hill across to the other. You've got a big yellow cube in the middle of that. Just think about it for a moment, you know. Now, also in the report, or in the reduction of obtrusive light, being nerdy, that's Appendix B, page 10. The lighting effects are given zones, and this area is being classed as E3 zone, and that's classed as a suburban area. Now, anyone knowing Castle Road, the Rough, Langdale Rise, and the school playing field, and it's at that side of the school, this proposal. You don't have to take into account Venables and Oak Street and Fern Street. They are considerably out of it. So the areas that you consider are around the field itself and in the immediate surrounding vicinity of that field. And it's classed as suburban. Now, we all know it's rural area. And as such, in the table I've quoted on page 10, that takes into a different category, an E2 category. And that does require a more mitigation and a lower overall lighting effect, if you like. So in summary, my main concern really is the extensive proposed hours, apart from sharing exactly all the environmental problems and concerns that Alan so eloquently told us all about. So that's my main concern. It's the extensive proposed hours. It's a change in use. It's not playing. It's a commercial enterprise. I don't know of any schools who play games at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. Do any of you? No, I don't. So that's that's the main concern. It's this change of use. It's the extensive proposed hours. And if these were changed to a sensible, responsible, socially and practically acceptable level, then also by definition, some of the noise and the light concerns would also be reduced, as would potential antisocial behaviour and security risks. They're very different hours, as I've said, and again, depending which report, which planning and access statement you read, it can be from 8 till 10 p.m. Every day, apart from bank holidays. No, in fact, including bank holidays. So it's absolutely ridiculous. So I think some meaningful community consultation between residents and the school and the proposer maybe is definitely required. Of course, there hasn't been any, as already said. The hours need to be changed. There need to be substantial mitigation on the lights and the noise, and the environmental carcinogenic aspects of it need to be examined very closely. And I think not to rely on conditions which we know are wavered or appealed against, frequently appealed against, seldomly enforced. It's not conditions, it's a change, fundamental change in the nuts and bolts of this planning application. That is what is required. And that, in whatever form this committee can report on, is what I'm asking you to please transfer. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Councillors, comments? I've got Ian and then Patricia, and then I'll have Dorothy. Yeah, Ian.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. It seems to be 3 separate issues which need to be looked at individually. The first issue is lighting. And because of the site, I would say that there are serious concerns with the lighting as proposed having a detrimental impact on the wildlife in the area, as well as the residential amenities around the area. I think, yes, they do need to liaise with Lancashire Wildlife Trust to look at that. There are ways and means of that by reducing the size of poles, by using shrouding, what they call mushroom lights. There's various ways they can mitigate that. So I don't think that's going to be a major issue. I think that's more that. The other one is the materials used in the pitch. As it's pointed out, these pitches are extremely toxic and hazardous to health. It makes you wonder if they're trying to push this through, knowing that at some point within the next, say, 5 or 6 years, or maybe less, suddenly these pitches will become illegal. So they're just trying to get it pushed through fast. I don't think there is any justification for using 3G as opposed to natural grass. I think on a long-term issue as well, these pitches are, I would say, very, very costly in maintenance, future maintenance, etc. Whereas a natural grass pitch is a lower cost. And I think the other issue, which is very concerning, is the use of an educational facility for commercial purposes. It's like as though they are slowly trying to privatise the educational system and telling them that there's no funding from our glorious government. Therefore, you're going to have to find ways of making money yourselves. And I think this is completely and totally wrong. It is a school. And it should remain a school, not a business. Yeah. So now, as it's been pointed out, sadly, we can only comment. I think we should have, as a council, we need to make a very strong, forceful comment that 3G pictures will not be tolerated in Colne until such time as they can give 110% assurance that it is safe. As it is, we should say no. As for the commercial concerns, sadly, it's the way of the world.
Thank you, Ian. Can I just ask a question? I don't. Who is the commercial organisation? Is it something to do with the school, or is it completely separate? Anybody know? No. Yeah, right. But
the school are responsible for the maintenance of the pitch
who gets the profits though? Don't know. Okay.
School, because this company who put the planning forward, Steve Wells Associates, they basically will have sold it to the school
All right.
in such a way as you can make money.
Okay.
On it. We'll make money on it.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I've got Patricia.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the public, thank you for your detailed analysis of what you're facing. I'm in total agreement with you. First of all, the Professional Football Association, Barclays Premier League and the English Football League have banned this. So why Park thinking of, oh, we'll go for it. It's okay. It is not okay. You've already mentioned all the carcinogenics. Alan, is it? Yeah. You mentioned on the feet as well, coming off on your shoes. You can't clean it all off on them scrapers. You're taking it home. You're taking it into your own houses. You're taking it across the street. Your dogs, your cats are picking it up. Your children are picking it up. So the carcinogenics are going into your houses. You're going into your families. Again, you're going to. Sharon, you said it goes into the water table.
Well,
it will do, yeah, because we have a lot of rain in this country, and those pitches are supposed to be flat. Where's the water going? It's sitting on top, and when you brush it off, you're brushing off the surplus, and you're brushing off all the you're brushing off your carcinogenics. Another one you're coming up with is the glare. 15 foot or 15 meters? 15 meters. That's a heck of a height. I'm 2 meters tall, so you've got another 13 on. It's even higher than this building from the ground, and your residents are. I can see. I live in Nelson, and I can see Fisher Moore's lights in my house of a night time, and I live the other side. You've got Fisher Moor, and I live the other side of Gibb Hill Park. So what are you next door to it going to feel like? I wish they'd pay my electric. Also, the other major concern I've got is injury to the children or anyone who's using it. This is one of the reasons that this is another reason why these three professional footballing bodies, and I'm only using the football bodies. I believe Rugby England have also.
It's sprayed with chemicals to stop the spread of NRSA.
Yeah, but
it's also sprayed with fire retardant.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, grass burns. Yeah, you're still getting your carcinogenic in the grass burn, and it's hard. It's easier. If a person is tossed, as I like, they're going over. They bumped into each other, and the player falls over. It's not as soft as a grass. There's a chance of serious fractures. That is another downside for me. I will not be supporting this application.
Councillor Lord.
Thank you. Well, just to say, to start off with, I won't be saying that because I'm not allowed to. I am part of the planning process on Colne Area Committee. And when that comes to us, that's when the decision will be made. But, you know, from now until then, I can say very little. But what I will tell you is that Councillor Bell and myself paid a site visit last night. We were invited up into Castle Road. We spoke to 3 residents. We had a look at the site and we had a very long discussion about it. All very interesting. These people have really done the homework. I had no idea what rubber crumb was. I was thinking cake, crumb, cake. I had no idea whatsoever. I now think I'm almost an expert on it. Yeah. I got home, I looked it up, I Googled it. I didn't get to sleep till about 3 o'clock this morning. But interestingly, you've just said what I was going to say, and I will say it. My grandson plays for 2 football teams. He's 11 now. He's played since he was 7. He plays Saturdays and Sundays, and I know that he plays on a 3G pitch. So I asked my son about it today, and I told him what we discussed last night, and he said, oh, he comes home covered in it, covered on his skin, his clothes, his shoes, and it gets in the dog and in the rug and in the, you know, everywhere. I had no idea about this, absolutely no idea. So after that conversation, I thought, well, there's hundreds and hundreds of children in this area that play football on these 3G pitches. All them kits have to be washed. You know, where is all that going? Where's it all going? It's obvious. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. No idea about this until this conversation started last night. So that is well, it is a worry now to me. It is a worry. But as I say, I can't declare, and none of us can actually here, and say, well, we refuse it or pass it. We can make comment. We can make comment about it. I'd like to thank everybody that's come and the speakers. I think it's great to see the town hall full like this with people that are passionate about their area. So thank you.
Got Councillor Thomas and then Councillor Butterworth.
Thank you, Chair. I've spent a great deal of this afternoon trawling through Pendle Council's planning website and all the reports that I forgot what they call SS Surfacing Standards Limited, which is a grand title, and I suspect that their plans are based on a general we do these pictures and we put them about and we will refer here and there. I can find lots of things that are detrimental to this application. First of all is the times of use, which people have already mentioned, that they're a little ambiguous, to say the least. One of the Monday to Friday ones says it opens at 8 AM. I'm not sure what time the school starts, but you've got the possibility of half an hour there of people kicking a ball about. There's certainly a huge danger of light pollution. Some of us are old enough to remember the planning application for the new Boundary Mill, as it was in those days, and the amount of light pollution that caused. That there was a lot of toing and froing and altering the lighting on it, and when you drive down the motorway at night, it's still drive down towards it, it's still a little bit noticeable, to say the very least. and the planning application includes lots of lovely little drawings with like an oval drawn around the pitch, saying within this it'll be this much light will escape and this much. It's all very, very good, but I suspect it's because that they've done the same with the noise. Another problem that there is there, they say somewhere in the, and I can't remember exactly what bit it was in, but it talks about transportation, and it's well serviced by buses, and it quotes the 60 and the 60A and the M whatever it is that goes on the main line, the two buses that do that. That's fair enough. The M fair, the M whatever and whatever, well, whichever, they do run pretty much on time, and but they are I suppose the nearest bus stop to it before lane ends, so see people walking up there, doubt it. The 60A and the 60 pack up by about 7 o'clock at night. That's if they ever get as far as Venables Avenue. And I can see somebody in Nelson catching the bus to go up to Park School and spending most of the day literally going around the houses. Somebody asked the question of who would profit from it. Well, it would be the Academy Trust, which I think they're now called Apex. I think I've seen. So they're the ones that would put the money. The money would go into their coffers. Their survey that they've done a survey on bats and things, but when they quote the ecological surveys, they showed that they had to focus on the South Pennines area of, I forget its exact designation, and the Forest of Bowland area of ANOB, which by their own admission are 7 kilometres and 5 kilometres at the nearest points away from the planning application. So what they ought to be concentrating on are the curlews, the oyster catchers, which they admit in their report that are there. It says they're there, and they actually say that the curlews are nesting or were nesting. So that's in their report. They throw some doubt of where they are. They weren't sure where they were nesting, but great play was made in designating the Upper Rough as a green space, of the fact of the bird life there, and general open space. Also, mention was also made when we were talking about houses on it, that the transport wouldn't be very good. It's funny that the transport is now okay, and the birds are probably nesting. They talk about putting this fence around it to mitigate noise and what have you. We could put washers and all sorts in. There are several people sat around this table. There's some experience of fences round football pitches. All right, it was a mugger and not a 3G pitch and what have you. But believe me, they make a noise. And they couldn't find bats either. When they did, they could find some pipistrelle bats, but they couldn't find the more rarer bats that have some problem with light. So I think unlike people that are members of the Corn Area Committee, I can say if we had the power tonight, I'd be voting that the thing gets thrown back at them, because I don't think there are enough answers to the questions that people have raised. Now, I suspect at the end of the day, when it is purely judged on planning merits, it will be it won't be easy to find rock solid reasons that can't be overturned, which is a pity. But I think we should start at that level and get some negotiations with the school and the people providing it. And if I was them, and you know, if someone wants to tell them, I'd organise a meeting in the sports hall, the hall, or whatever of Park School, and come and put the money where the mouths are, and say, look, we understand, yeah, there are problems with this rubber crumb. I've just been looking up Sports England, and they haven't quite made their minds up on it. And there are other bits on there say it's generally safe, but you know, there is a big question mark there that needs answering. So, you know, I think it's a finely balanced thing, but there are enough reasons to say no, we don't want it, more than there are to say yes, let's put it there and cause problems to all the rest of it. And in knowing the problems that it will cause to the local residents. Sorry, I've got the wrong teeth in tonight.
Neil.
If I lived there, I would not like this plan to go ahead. I am on the planning committee of the area committee, so I won't say things that I shouldn't. I'll wait while the area committee. But unfortunately, people do not learn of the mistakes. So I'm going to mention a few things now, and I will just very quickly tell you about the mistakes that everybody makes, but nobody seems to sort out. The first thing I want to say is that I can only apologise that you haven't had a consultation. I mean, you know, this is huge. It's not just putting a shed up somewhere. It's huge, so it needs a full consultation, and we shall have it in that, like my colleague said, in the school, with all their plans and all their correct paperwork and all the correct items that are being discussed. That should be there, and then you should be there with maybe one or two speakers, because sometimes too many speakers, people get fed up, to be honest with you. So you know, organise some, maybe two speakers. So if you look at Fisher Moor, right, once it's up, and you try and change the gate, it takes you years. Boundary Mill, the lights, look, to turn the lights down or to lower them or to angle them. And all this specification, it's going to be 45 degrees, it's going to be 35 degrees, is a bag of nuts. Because, you can't speak this 1 minute, because light is not controlled by an angle. Because you see light from miles away. So I'm even going to mention the mugger at Alkirk Courts Park. Right, the mugger. The lights shone into bedrooms. I went into a bedroom and the man was reading his newspaper and he was talking 10 o'clock at night. Look, Neil. There. And he was reading the paper. No, there was lights or something on the light because they got me down there. And the other thing was the timings. So the timings of this, 10 o'clock. No, it's not 10 o'clock. That's when it finishes. Then all the people have got to talk about the football match and then make their way out. and they make their way out to your accommodation, your houses. So I'm not exactly for it or against it, because like my colleague said, they will find a way. For every reason you give, they will find an answer. So you'll be supplying them with the answers already. So the lighting and the noise, as a former coach of Colne Carrots, football is a blue language football. It's sport. Everybody swears and it's very, very loud. And they take this noise with them when they leave. So if you're going to put conditions in it, if you want the noise to finish at 10 o'clock, then turn the lights off at 8 o'clock. As simple as that. It's not rocket science. So I think that's all I want to say. But once it's up, it'll take you forever to change it. Forever. My apologies. I just want to say something. It's not the mug I was on about. What I was on about with the lights was on Oak Street. They put lights on the houses across from the other houses, and that's what I was on about. The man was reading his paper because of the lights over the road. But it's the same comparison. You don't want lights in your front room or your back room or your garden at 10 o'clock at night, and the noise won't finish at 10 o'clock. It won't. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've got multiple hats on here, of course. As I said up front, Colne Youth Action Group would love a resource like this, because the school has said that we could use it in some form or another. We did do the phenomenally successful football at Fisher Moor on their pitch. That was basically the first thing that SEAG ever offered. As children in lockdown were lost and nowhere to go and throwing eggs and stones at people's houses and cars and everything, and you all wanted them dead on Facebook, and there was all that kind of thing was going on. Then we asked Fisher Moor, could we use your pitch? And they said yes, and they gave it to us for free. So we used that, and we had up to sort of 60, 70 young people playing football every single week. It was that reliability that they needed in their lives to have structure. East Colne has no such resource. Yeah, we talked to the cricket club, but the cricket club don't want people running around their pitch making a mess of it, because obviously it's for games. So having some sort of facility at East Colne, we as councillors obviously represent the whole of Colne area, and we know there are lots of playgrounds in different places and whatever. Lidget has none. No resources at all. Young people have nothing to do in Lidget. If you're a child, nowhere to go. So some sort of resource like that is useful. We did engage with Park High in the distant past, and we did do some cycling things with Go Velo on their ordinary playground. That was popular. We might do something again. Now, if I put a Lidget and Beyond hat on, because obviously I'm the chairman of Lidget and Beyond, then we have fought a long time, long battles about many things, obviously the lower rough, upper rough, etc. And where we've got to as a group essentially is we will support sustainable, appropriate development, but we will oppose unsustainable, inappropriate development. Government obviously crying out for development everywhere, stupid housing targets left, right and centre, Pendle local plan going through examination. It has some sense in it, and it may well support the Upper Rough as a local green space. And that will be a fantastic achievement for us to have lobbied them to do that. I think as a borough councillor, as Dorothy and Neil have both pointed out, we can't pass a judgment now. So I think a lot of you have engaged with me, and particularly with Sarah as well, on some of the points. And I think you brought them out as there's a lot of gaps, errors, inconsistencies in this sort of application. One of the things we found from the last Colne area meeting was that you had applicants and residents sort of having a little bit of a battle in the meeting about what was right. And so by getting them to talk to each other, it's amazing. Because, somebody puts an application in, they spend money on their consultants, in goes the application, and then we all try and pick it to pieces. Officers write a report, they've got their eye on the planning framework, and as Howard points out, the planning framework is structured to support development. So you've got to come up with reasons, and Lidget and Beyond have lots of experience, and I know a number of you involved in some of our campaigns. So you know the sorts of things to talk about, and you know the sorts of things to engage with the school about as well. I I'm very disappointed that the school has not engaged with the consultation. Apparently it was done in the past on other developments that the school has done. So, you know, for something like this, I mean, Park High is crying out for resources. The demographics of the population means that they're getting fewer children nowadays, so they need to turn themselves into some sort of sustainable business. Otherwise, you know, there'll be too many schools, and one or two of them will have to close. Now, we don't really want Park High to close because, you know, it's a good anchor for the area. So having something that is the right facility with the right opening times, the right lighting, etc., that's the sort of thing that could be developed. But this sounds like it's not the right application. And therefore, that's why some discussions have to take place with them. Other points made, things like, obviously we fought long and hard to put the Colne neighbourhood plan together. So there's an awful lot of things in there which give Colne extra planning rights, rules, etc., above national planning. So if we say, for example, I mean, we have turned, I think it was John mentioned it, about significant views. And one of the things we said is that you have a significant view from the Rough to Lenches, and from Lenches to the Rough. We all knew when the applications for the Rough went in, you stood on Colne cricket pitch, and you could look up and you could see the hill rising there. So the idea of development, lighting, occupation, transport, etc., are all the sorts of things that factor into that. So if the school want to add their resources to it, and they put in this bid to Sport England, they need to build the right facility, which addresses all the concerns you've got to the fullest extent they can. You know, schools have facilities. I mean, just coming back to Fisher Moor just slightly, you talked about how that's used. We can't use Fisher Moor anymore now. And that's because we only cover up to age 16, but the people who reached 17 and 18 so loved it, they kept coming back. And unfortunately, they bring alcohol, vapes, etc., etc. And that causes disruption. And Fisher Moor only put one bloke on to look after the facility. So he was totally outmaneuvered. They pinched all our footballs, they caused chaos, and just that was it. The headmaster closed it down. So he's now seeking funds to put the right gates in there. So understanding how these facilities can work and how they can address the concerns that you've all raised is something that we have to kick back on. And let's understand what it is they want to do.
Thank you. Okay, so we will put our comments in. There's been a lot said, so we will put our comments in. We've got the main things, and what I propose that we do, we listen back to the recording and we pick up all the big issues and put that in our comments that we'll send into the planning department, if that's okay with you, because lots and lots of really good information, good stats that you've brought us. So we'll do that rather than trying to write it out now, if that's okay with you.
It's just been pointed out in my right here that in fact the closing date for the consultation is in fact the day, either the day of or the day before the next Colne area, so there may be a chance it doesn't go to that.
So it may not go to the next. Who has? Do you look on the portal and see what's going? 4th. Are you sure? Yeah. Right. We don't think it'll go to that, John. Yeah. But it's probably going to be the October meeting of the Colne Area Committee, which is the first Thursday in every month. So, but we'll check. If you check that it's not on the one for September, and it'll be on the one for October. All right. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for attending. It's been lovely to see you all. That's the reports from the borough. Did you get them?
Yes. Got a comment. What the
Closing date
the comment?
Yes.
for comments.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But we
Okay.
think the actual thing will be the October one. Yeah.
It's been extended.
Right.
All right. Okay.
As a statutory constitution.
Right. Okay. Right.
John? We didn't mention this. You know, and we were kicking the ball. Right now, I think Coach Rowan there. So it'll be just bang.
Okay. Yeah, right.
See you.
Yes. See you then. Right, we are still live streaming.
Right, well, right. Okay then, shall we continue? Right. The next item is reports from the borough and county councils. Have we got that?
Yes, it is.
No, you didn't.
Because I haven't had chance to send this out, obviously I was away last week.
I'll
Um,
counter. Yes.
I would suggest though, if once you've all read it in your own
Oh,
time,
right.
if you have any issues or if you require any clarification on anything, just to send me an email, and we can sort it out from there. But
Okay.
I'll let you give a brief.
Thank you. Just a quick run through of these points. You've got the hard copy in front of you. So quite a range of topics. A few of them can be merged together into general planning issues. So you've got the stuff about the nature reserve, the nature recovery consultation, and number one. So Sarah wrote all that on behalf of the Cone Town Council. That went in, and that's gold dust when it comes to the next version of the neighbourhood plan. She's chasing Michael Wellett, as always. Point number 3, good one. It's touched on this thing about green spaces. So obviously we wanted to put things like the rough and the lenches in, but of course the inspector said you got to wait for Pendle's housing targets to be sorted out. As part of the local plan hearings, and we fed back last time, essentially they do not seem to be necessary, and therefore, fingers crossed, when he issues his final report, there are no modifications suggested so far about taking ones out or eliminating any, or changing anything, or coming up with additional housing targets either. In fact, the examiner actually fought the local corner by saying you should stake some windfall sites in there. So that means that we do not have a target. So we've already identified sites, so we've already exceeded our target, which is brilliant news. Banking, number 5, you've got the facility here. You may have seen that Ash met with Dave Fishwick to try and push something together from a sort of Cone bid and business point of view.
I just said that I'd arranged with the head of Link to come to Cone, and I'd tell him the date when he was coming.
Fair enough. Good.
Can I just interrupt as well, please?
Yes, sure.
Is the local MP involved as well?
Yeah, with me, not
Probably,
with.
yeah. I think the previous one is, and the current one is as well, probably. The thing about the little street name project, this little one with QR codes and things linked to websites and whatever. So Sarah's finished off the first one as a proof of concept with Christine Bradley. So we're going to try and get ahead on that one, prove it, and then put a bid in to get some lottery money on that one. So that should be quite a good thing to do. Number 7 is all about this grey belt thing, so that's a planning one again. But basically, there was a set of houses on the edge of Laneshire Bridge, and that was deemed to be the edge of the green belt. And because it wasn't keeping Colne and Laneshire Bridge separate and had no function in that, then it was a case of let's designate that as grey belt. And of course, grey belt we all thought was supposed to be things like abandoned petrol stations and garden centres and whatever. So there is a petition doing the rounds around the country as well about trying to get some redefinition on what that really means. Otherwise, again, everything's up for grabs. Done about that one. You see number 11, we're chasing for a meeting with Langeroyd Hall. Apparently there is a planning application coming forward, so there is some movement on that one. It's tied up with the use of the land around the back of Red Lane, etc. So there's a few things there which are how they plan to develop the site. We did give some money last time round. Colne Citadel wanted some guttering stuff done, and you know that wonderful sundial outside the library, where all the Roman numerals are in the wrong order and upside down and all that kind of thing. So we're going to get that in the right order and the right way, so it's correct. And hopefully parents can educate children in Roman numerals. The PSPO, we changed it slightly. We said people often walk 2 dogs, so don't just restrict it to 1. So other than that, that was the only thing. The other broader point on wildlife generally, pigeons. Remember we talked about pigeons, whether you can use a falcon to scare them off or something like that from the top of the library, or whether you can poison them in appropriate ways. So again, we're pushing the environmental services to do that. Good news on police. We're pushing stuff on empty homes. Still trying to push on, there was another presentation given about bulky waste collections and free bins and how it's costing the council literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. And we're totally out of step with other councils who do charge for those things because they are valuable services. Certainly.
When you say hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, have you got an accurate figure on that?
Yes, there were figures put together for the overview and scrutiny paper by David Walker. Essentially, a bulky waste collection costs about a tenner, and they've got tens of thousands. I think it was 250 a week. So it's £2,500 a week is being spent on bulky waste.
Well, we're not talking of reports from the Colne area because that is not relevant.
It's from Pendle relating to Colne.
Yeah, but we get accused of being political, and you've been political about 3 times in this report so far.
Well, some things are political. At the Borough Council, they certainly are. We know that. On that bombshell. See you, Howard. Right. The other project we're pushing forward on for Colne area is these arts projects, public arts projects and public entertainment, as it were. So this is based on this idea of the witches, dots, balls, and the Nur and Spell competition. I want to try and bring that back as well. So we'll see how we get on with that one. I think it's going to drift into the new year for sure on that one. So there's a few things we're working on. Bollards. Remember we had this big debate about bollards, metal bollards, plastic bollards, etc. Well, we're going to push ahead with the Albert Road Conservation Area, and as part of an analysis for that, English Heritage allow you to then say what is important about your street scene, and if we say cast iron bollards are, then we've got something which is ammunition to say to Lancashire County Council, and this is what we've written to them. And the only other final one is about the SPID data, which I think you need to supply it to both Lancashire County Council because their traffic liaison committee at LCC, which meets with Pendle people, said there were, quote, no speed or traffic concerns in the area. Okay. Which we all know is nonsense, and the SPID data will say that. So the police wanted and the LCC traffic liaison people wanted. So that's all from me.
Good.
Yes, please. The inspector's main modification report.
Yes.
Is it visible to
yes.
everybody?
Yes.
on Pendle Borough Council.
Yes, you go to the Pendle Borough Council thing, and there's a dedicated area which has in all the documents as they emerge. So it talks them through what he's recommended to change, mainly just wording things, small tweaks here and there, and then you've got Pendle's response, which says, you know, this is what we've done, and it shows you, the track changes they've made. It also puts in a new table for the housing numbers and housing target.
Thank you.
Dorothy.
Well, I'll just give a small report on some of my small achievements. I've also written to David Fishwick. I've not yet had a reply. I've managed to secure a meeting at Woodheads with the management team there, and that's at the beginning of September. And Councillor Bell and myself will be attending that along with a local resident. That's outside the library. David Walker's promised it will be cleaned next week. There was something else it's gone out of my head. I think that's it. Yeah, that'll do.
David?
Yes, Chairman, I want to ask what you might all term as a pedantic question. But it is relevant to this item because it's actually relevant to part of the title of this item, which is borough and county councils. And I am aware that within a few days of the elections in May, a successful candidate did approach this council and ask for a list of when all the Colne Town Council full council meetings were, so that he could attend them or send a report to them. I just wondered, Chairman, could you remind me exactly how many times they've either sent us a report or attended, apart from it being zero?
Zero. Yes.
It's not worrying.
No.
We've got three councillors coming in the area. Two Pendle Rural and one Pendle.
Well, I know what I want to know. That's twice it's coincided, as it has with Sarah, with the development management. So that's beyond anyone's control.
Yeah. So they could submit a report.
You could.
Yeah. They could. But the other one, one of them in particular, did say you wanted all the things so that they could. And I'm just asking the question to be marked. How has he attended? Apart from it being zero.
No, he's not attended. Well, no one has attended. Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, David, there's very variable attendance at things like Trawden and Folridge and Lancashire Parish Councils as well. It's very ad hoc. Sometimes you get the odd comment or two sent in, but rarely. And attendance is probably a third, if you're lucky, 50% if you're dreaming. But yeah, it's like getting the police along as well. I mean, one suggestion with the well-resourced police force, we might want to get a policeman in, or police officer, or a PCSO person or whatever.
Yes.
The questions on today.
Quick question. Halfway down the big sheet, we've got lots of electricity bills. Are we spending £2,283 in 3 months at the Bowling Group Pavilion? That's an awful. 2,283 at the Bowling Pavilion in 3 months. So that's £700 or £800 a month. The Bowling Pavilion.
The Pavilion Cafe.
Pavilion Cafe.
And all that business, yeah.
So is the cafe entirely electric or something?
Just from the cafe.
I can double check
Yeah.
the readings, but yeah.
Right.
So it's all
Maybe that's
electric,
what it
is it?
I mean, if it's consistently that level, it just jumped out at me as being a rather large number. I mean, I know the town hall a few lines down is like £1,600 for a month. Yeah, there you go. But we do have gas boilers, don't we?
We do. We don't have them on at the moment.
Yeah.
What's that, the pavilion? Nothing. Is it just electric only?
It's just electric only, yeah.
It is electric that the cafe uses. It's electric that the academy uses. It's the electric for the lighting on the mugger and the CCTV on the camera.
Yeah, that actually could be
And
why it's gone up quite
It's
a bit.
the other, on the play area, there's
Okay.
also a camera, and there's also the lighting there. So it is the lighting for all of
Right.
it as well. It's everything in the park.
So it's that 1 metre for the whole place, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And who operates the Pavilion Cafe?
Eileen.
And who keeps the profits?
Well, Eileen, I presume.
I presume.
So does she not pay the bill?
There is an agreement between them and the
Bowling club.
Academy.
Right,
So it-
okay. I know we support them. Yeah, okay. All right, that was all.
Well, on top of that, there is actually a street light on
Right, okay,
It's dangerous and worse.
Okay.
right. And yeah, and we're still having loads and loads of antisocial behaviour. I know it's not anything to do with this, but it's the park. Yeah, yeah. Right, can I have a proposal then to accept paper 8A? And anybody got any questions on it? 8B, which is the budget.
I just had one observation in that our income is still ahead of our costs, isn't it? So despite the phasing of the precept payments to us, it seems like we're managing it carefully.
Yeah.
We're doing well, and obviously we're getting the money in from other sources as well.
Yeah, we did actually recently put some more money into the public sector deposit fund. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But now I'll move 8A and 8B if you like.
And so, thank you, Patricia. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 9, Treasurer of Town.
If I can just get in a question about the vandalism that went on in Alkin Courts Park. Can I just say something, or can I ask something?
Under the charter.
That's it. I don't know. I'm just throwing. No, I want to discuss it now. Really. Well, I don't want to discuss.
Calm down.
it. I just want to make a comment about it. Because of all the glass, that part was out of action all the weekend. Have we got anybody that can go out at the weekend and do a job like that? You know, have we got somebody, there's all this glass broken, it needs to be moved Saturday afternoon. Do we have anybody to call on?
No.
Well, Gina should know this.
We have someone who looks after the play areas. So it probably would be to contact them, but obviously we need to know about it first.
Yeah, well, it was just a comment on Facebook that somebody said.
Yeah,
it had
this is
been-
the problem. People put it on Facebook
Yeah.
and don't tell the correct
Well,
people.
you're right,
So
you're right.
unless we employ someone to sit doom scrolling through Facebook all week,
No, listen,
we'll miss them. I mean,
I've not quite finished. I think somebody from this council did send an email, and it might have been Friday, but I might be wrong. But it just brought that up to my mind. If we needed somebody at a weekend in an emergency, is there anybody? It don't matter. You can.
I mean, it's
email me.
people that can try, but whether they would be available to do it is another thing. And it would probably cost you twice as much as well.
If a branch fell down off a tree, who would deal with that in an emergency?
If it was a Well, it depends where it was. If it's
Well,
off the
somebody'd
highway,
have
then
to go out, wouldn't they?
It's in the
Somebody'd
park.
have to go
That's
out.
it's in the
in the
park.
park.
We have a call out as part of our contract, don't we? For emergencies.
Yeah.
But whether that covers broken glass on slides or whatever, possibly not.
Anyway, go on, carry on. I just want to try and get that in.
I don't think we have lensmen, but they only work Monday to Friday, don't they?
Chairman, can I just comment on something here? Dorothy's brought it up, so we might as well say it now. I've already had a discussion about this with Gina earlier tonight, and there is a problem in the fact that the glass was broken apparently sometime round about lunchtime on Friday, and more than one person said on Facebook, on Contook actually, that there's some broken glass on Alkin Court Park. Kids have done this, kids have done that, and play area can't be used. And then they start kicking up a fuss later afternoon because nothing's been done. And the way I see it is, putting something on Facebook is not reporting it. You can't just put something on Facebook and expect somebody from Town Council to see it and send somebody out to sort it. They need educating, that they need to report it to the town hall by ringing up.
The point I'm making or asking is there anybody?
Yeah, but if it had been reported when it should have been, it would have been reported to town council. No, it wasn't reported to town council, as far as I'm aware, until after they'd finished for the weekend.
Yeah, but there isn't anybody anywhere, according to what people say.
There is.
It was on Friday afternoon.
Yes. But Chairman, I haven't finished yet. What we need to do is to get something out there on social media or something and educate people that to report something, they need to report it officially to the town council, either by email or by ringing up or by calling in and coming to the front door. Putting it on Facebook is not reporting it.
You're still missing my point. If it was a weekend, is there anybody available to go out? If that happened on a Saturday morning and the park was out of action all weekend, which it was anyway, and I get your point there, and I agree with you there. Is there anybody? Right, thank you.
It's reported, yes.
Yeah, in the right hours.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that it was out of action all weekend.
Yeah. I suppose everybody went home Friday night and they're not going to be.
Sorry.
Everybody will go home on Friday after the, you know.
Yeah, but I just wondered if there was
There's not a number to ring.
somebody allocated with this job
If our
out of hours.
lensmen know, they're going to pick it up on the Friday. Just think,
No, talk about weekend.
no, well, there isn't.
No, that's all.
I think if I just chip it to add to yours, David, it's the same thing at CSP when you see social media has antisocial behaviour, vandalism, kids running amok. You think, well, report it to the police then. You know, do your 111, do it online or whatever. This gutter's blocked. Oh, well, stick it on Love Clean Streets then. That's what these things are for. People don't know how to report things in the right way. Exactly. So we just wanted a post of information. If you see this, do this. If you see this, do that. I know your question is different, though. It's a different question entirely about availability of staff. And the police aren't 24/7 either. But, you know, that's the sort of thing where you'd think if we tell people, it's like in the old days when you said it's not the town council's responsibility, it's the borough council. It's not them, it's the county council. We spend our whole time trying to educate people where to complain in the right way or report things in the right way. So perhaps a post, this to them, report this to them, do some links. Well, you've got there's no alternative. You could put it on a big notice board in the park.
Have that resource for anybody to go out over the weekend and clear broken glass. That's all I want.
If we were aware of something, there's certain people that we can contact, but whether they'll be available is another thing. But yeah. But obviously we need, you know, if we're aware that there's an emergency and something needs doing, then we'll try and sort it if we can. But
Yeah.
And there is a danger from it, there are ways to contact people, to call them out, but we can't contact them and call them out if we don't know about it. That's where the problem is.
That glass was flying on the floor. Anyway.
But that's in.
Do you put, I don't know. Did anyone tell council officers?
I didn't know.
The other people did when we were going down council.
All right.
Well, the other member of the town council knew about it though.
Right. Everybody knew.
Well, I don't. So well, I don't.
But not every
If I'm too busy, I don't look at.
chair, everybody didn't know.
It still wasn't my question. Forget about all that.
No, your question's been answered. If
Yeah.
it's serious enough,
Of course,
people can be there are people that can be contacted.
It'll cost money for town council, but the answer to your question is yes, they can be called out, but it'll cost money. But if it's a danger or it's something serious, like yes, because a couple of years back, a big branch fell off a tree in Alpha Road and blocked the road where there was a right of way to certain houses further up, and it had to be cleared, and it was cleared out of hours, and it has to be. So the answer to your question is yes, it can be done.
But did Pendle Council do it?
I think it worked.
I think it did.
Yeah.
Well, we know how to contact them. They've got an emergency number, but we haven't, have we? No. I mean, we want your personal phone number, Gina.
No, having that.
Yeah.
Maybe when we become a big council, when the borough's not here, we can.
Chair, Treasure Our Town.
Yeah, can we move?
Treasure Our Town was a very sparsely attended affair.
Very.
It was attended by the town clerk, myself, and Linda, whose second name I've forgotten.
I was doing something
Yes, never. That's
for the town council.
that's.
Weren't picking glass up with thought, were we?
No, we were picking litter on Cambridge Street and environs, and
There was quite a bit of glass actually.
I did a double take as I came into the town hall, and that all the rubbish that was pouring out of what's it building has. Well, I'm saying it's been cleared. It isn't pouring out onto the footpath anymore. So move the report.
Yes, the next one's on the 3rd of September on Brightliff Avenue, the next Treasure Our Town, picking up the litter. Item 10, the Grace Festival, how are we doing?
Plans for the festival are well underway. Obviously, the festival's this weekend. We've sold 756 tickets and 176 camping pictures. Online ticket sales close tomorrow evening at 6:45, but then tickets can be purchased from the Town Hall box office over the weekend. All the infrastructure for the festival will start to go in tomorrow evening, ready for toilet deliveries and other bits of kit to be delivered and put in place. And let's hope we get some dry weather. Yeah, so the festival will be with us this weekend.
Good. You got enough volunteers?
Yes.
Good. Yes, Alice.
Are you happy with the number of tickets sold to date, or is it lower than expected?
I think it's
very similar.
Very
to
similar.
last year.
Fair enough, yeah.
But obviously we've got the weekend to get through yet. We do normally sell a good amount of tickets in the box
And
office.
we've got a slightly different format as well.
We have-
We have got afternoon and evening tickets separate, so we are expecting to sell more of those over the weekend.
Have we advertised those? Because might get more corners to go if it's just.
Yes,
They have been advertised.
I walk round with my eyes shut, you see.
We had no.
But we're hoping for the Muni next year.
We have actually got a meeting booked early September.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're a roadhouse, but I think it's the Little Muni. Yeah, I'm not sure. The Albert Room or whatever it's called.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Albert Room.
Lesser Muni, that's what I've always called it. Yeah. But yes, I think if the price is right, we're keen that they can join in as a main stage like the Hippodrome.
They are keen to be a main venue next year.
Right. Right. Item 11 is correspondence received. No, it isn't. It's planning. Planning.
The rest planning.
The rest of the planning somewhere.
Where?
Where the heck is it?
That is me. I'm losing up.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Right. We've done the first one. What we're going to do, Gina's going to pick them out of the recording. Pardon? The first one is 25/0233/FUL.
That's already been decided, by the way.
Oh, it has. Yes,
We
I
had that on the
remember.
agenda for last
Yeah,
year.
you did. Yeah.
We delegated grant consent with a couple of redesigns
Yeah.
on steps and red brick.
Right.
So,
The next one is 25/0481/FUL. It's land to the west of Garfield at Keighley Road, Colne, erection of a detached dwelling.
Chair, I just hope that it isn't going to end up in those colours. I hope they're just whoever the architect is, David Liversidge design, just wanted to use his pen. Yeah, wanted to use his pens up, but what there is all the way along there, as you and I know, because we walked along there about a week ago. And yes, sorry, Brian as well. And there's just about every design of house between there and School Lane, as there is. So. But I noticed they have a panic room or something. I can't remember what it's called on one of the things. There's something pod.
Councillor Lloyd, what did you say? Oh, thank you. No comment then. Yes. Brian.
A little bit of hearsay here as well. If I was mentioned a pod, somebody rang up the planning department and asked what it was for, and they said for storage facilities whilst they're building the home. But I believe that electricity has been connected now. I think they live in there.
Interesting. Okay. So we've no comment then. Next one, it's for information only. It's a horse chestnut tree. So that's okay, isn't it? The next one is 25/0488, so stroke ADV. It's just for a boundary advertising consultant sent, and I think it's to replace the one that was similar there before.
I think Skoda or Skoda, as the advert says, have had a bit of a rebrand, so it's changing the typeface and goodness knows what. I think they now include the little there. If you look at the S, it's slightly. It's also it's replacing light with light, just about.
No comments. The next one is 25/0477. Advertising again, consent, Union Hotel, Market Street, Colne.
So I've had a look at this and I'm not happy with it. I don't think it's in keeping, because it's part of the conservation area. I don't think it's in keeping with the format of the building, and it's very bright as well. That side of it is part of the conservation area. The back of the building, Chair. And it's there, and I don't know on what grounds we would make them take it down.
Was it retrospective? Yeah.
Yes, it's already there. I think they put that there when they rebranded it with that U and everything, and the signs on the front and what have you.
So what we're going to do then? Nothing.
I thought conservation. Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody wants to conserve farm foods. The charity shop.
On the one that's always shut. Yeah, it'd be facing Skelton Street, yeah. So always just, no comment.
No comment.
The back, the side.
Yeah, it's not quite a spectacular vehicle.
Oh,
That's where it is.
Yeah. You put a lot of effort into it.
Is it sorry, is it overlooking any property? Is it shining into any property?
Shining to two new houses, don't know how far they are apart.
Are they down Salisbury Street or?
Yeah, I just don't know how bright it is and whether it affects the neighbouring
I suppose
houses.
they will have their chance to
Yeah.
comment, won't they, on the application?
No, have you been to Cornwall? No.
What you
No.
What you heard?
Um,
Can I suggest we won't make a comment?
No comment. Yeah.
all right, no comment. We'll leave it to Colne area to. The next one is 25/0328/FUL. It's Whitemore View, Red Lane, Colne. Erection of 3 holiday lodges with associated parking. Can someone tell me whereabouts on Red Lane it is, or is it off? All right, yeah, okay. So you can't see it from. No.
You might see it off the reservoir bank, but you know you'd be looking uphill and there'd be trees, foliage in between. I think as long as it's in sensible colours and what have you, I can't remember. I did look at it when it came on the first. Start again. When it first came on the weekly sheets, and there was nothing there to raise an alarm. I mean, the only possible danger is that somebody else gets the idea and so on. But as you can see from there, there isn't an awful lot on the land that's owned by the people in what is now Whitemore View, which was the Bullion, that's going to put more there. I just don't think you can.
In fact, Chairman, Red Lane isn't actually on that map. That's how far off Red Lane is.
Right, okay.
I was saying no comment.
No comment then, yeah.
Just
yeah. And is that all the planning? There's nothing come in?
About the screen. How the screen? further up there, because we're all like this down here.
You mean movies in front of Gina and Mary?
Yeah.
I'll stay.
You know, I'm saying that, you know, sorry, but you can't see and I'm leaning back.
Yeah.
Somebody else, or they can't see.
Yes.
If we're sat on a rack, it'd be different. But we can just,
We can. It's on wheels. It's yeah. At Colne area, I think it goes back a bit, doesn't it? Colne area.
a bit
I think
up near to Gina.
it's a little bit further back. Yeah.
It can go in front of me, I'm not bothered.
David will tell you where it goes when it's at Colne.
Yeah, it's not usually that far forward.
You've got to be careful where you because cameras as well, so you'll get camera.
Right. So there's no more. We've done all the plan applications. Item 12 is correspondence received. Have we had any correspondence?
Right, that was just the only thing that included were the comments from the residents, just so that you had a chance to read through them.
All right, thank you. Item 13 is items for a future month's agenda. Yes, Alice.
In the last minutes, it did say for Conin Bloom to give a report. I know you've all been busy, and we did give a report in, but I'm not saying that we should have had it today, but I understand why we didn't. Would it go on to the next agenda?
Yes.
And we'll have another report as well as that one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We've been very busy.
Yes.
I think perhaps we ought to have an item on whichever committee is deemed appropriate, either this one or FES or contracts or whatever, to just formalise an emergency contact if needed.
There you go, Dorothy.
Sorry, I put that in a backwards way round.
Are we all in favour of that?
Chairman, it might be better with that.
Yes.
With the new tender for the bush elders, areas, whatever. We can put something in about emergency call out. It's going to have a different.
Yeah.
So I would suggest we put it in the tendering process and put it on the tender. And if it's something we do ourselves, we'll have to have some sort of a system where they get paid
Overtime.
all the time on the appropriate rate increase. Go on Lensford.
Yeah. Good idea. We'll put that.
Now that you found out first, so you can go.
Yeah. So we'll set.
Next week, there is a meeting of the vendors working group thing. The week after, it's going to FES to sort out what we're going to put into the tender documents to put out. I think it's important that we the September meeting of FES. Equally, I think it's important that it's also going to be ratified to the September meeting of the full council, so that we can get it out to tender and get the tenders back before we decide the sheet. Rather than find out a week later.
Alice.
Do you think this would be the right place to discuss the upcoming developments on the secret garden wall for next time?
We could probably discuss that in the contracts committee when we're looking at the grounds maintenance tenders for
and benches.
The garden. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Can I do one on pushing us to consider asset transfers? given that things are crystallising in terms of Pendle's lifespan and local government and whatever opportunity, it might be a private item, of course, if we start to
Yeah,
brainstorm things,
yeah.
but just to get that shopping list developed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Date and time of next meeting. 16th. Oh, I'll be on holiday. Okay.